Now right here I have a classic example of a door that rattles. There's a lot of play in this, and that's because the way that the door was installed, it's able to travel too far or farther than where that latch makes a nice tight connection with the door jamb. And as you can see, I've got a good 1/16 of an inch, maybe even an 1/8 of an inch of play there, which is just way too much play in the door. The door should be sitting up nice and flush with this trim piece, which is for the door stop. Well, there's actually many ways to fix this, some of them better than others. And one of the ways I've seen people try to fix this is they try to stop how far the door can travel by adjusting this trim piece, which is acting as the door stop. So what they'll do is they will pry this whole trim piece off and move it in towards the door, basically not allowing for the door to travel as far and to allow the latch to lock into the strike plate so that it's nice and firm up against the door stop. I really think that that's complete overkill, a complete waste of time and energy. So then what a lot of people will do is they will adjust this strike plate. So what they'll do is they'll remove the strike plate. And the idea is then to move the strike plate inwards towards this door stop more, because by doing it this way, the door is still going to travel the same distance as it has been. But by recessing this in closer to the door stop, when that latch goes into the strike plate here, then it's going to stop the door from basically having a bounce back effect where it over travels all the way back and then it bounces forward. That's what's giving the play in the door and causing the rattling. Now, this can work in some situations, but there is a problem that comes with trying to do it this way. The biggest problem is, as you can see, we've got our holes already drilled out from where the strike plate has been sitting. We also have this all mortised out for the strike plate to sit exactly where it was sitting and fastened down. So we would have to chisel out some more of the frame here in order to get this strike plate to sit back further this way. But even if we do that, you can still see a little bit of the holes that the screws were originally in. Well, if you try to drill that out right next to those other holes, what may end up happening is they may actually end up connecting, because this is going to be very weak here, and more than likely your hole is going to connect with the one that's next to it, and you're just not going to have a nice solid surface to put your screw into. So I'm going to show you a quick trick with this strike plate that's going to make this repair super quick and super easy. All right, so here is your typical strike plate. Now, they might not all be like this. Some of your older ones won't have this. But if you notice on this strike plate, there's this little lip that sticks out. Well, this little piece that sticks out here is more so designed for your exterior doors, that on the latch where it's got a safety pin on it, the safety pin gets caught on that. But if we flip it over to this side where it's attached to that cutout or that notch out, you'll see this lip that comes all the way down below it. And this is what we're going to adjust in order to repair this door. So in the case of this one, it's basically in the default position that it came from the store, so nobody has messed with it. So what I like to do is I just take an adjustable wrench, and it's going to act basically as my vise. It's got nice smooth edges, so it's not going to mar up the metal at all on the strike plate. And then I'll just take a pair of slip joint pliers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it to that little tongue, and I'm going to bend it slightly away from that adjustable wrench there, like so. As you can see, I've bent it more this way or inwards, so this way the latch cannot travel as far. And of course, if I need to move it more, I can, but let's go ahead and reinstall it and see if we've got it fixed. So I want it nice and snug all the way back to where it's already been chiseled out, and then I'll screw it down. Also, keep in mind, anytime you're inserting these types of screws into trim or wood like this, make sure not to over tighten. It's really easy to strip out the holes on these smaller screws, and then you'll have another issue on your hands of not being able to tighten down the screw, and then this just rattling. All right, so let's see if it's fixed. All right, so it's much better, but there is still a slight rattle, so I'm going to adjust it just a little bit more. Sometimes it is going to take a little bit of trial and error to get it just right. All right, so moment of truth. So while if I push hard enough, I can still get it to make a little bit of noise, because there is always going to be a slight bit of gap there. That is about as good as it's going to get. And anytime some doors are going to be closed or somebody closes this door, it's not going to be nearly as noisy, and it's not going to rattle.
Now, one other thing you can do if you've got strike plates like mine is you see this little tab here. If you take a flat-headed screwdriver, you can insert it into that tab and you can start bending it out. Now, one reason why I don't like doing it this way is if somebody that put in the screws originally stripped them at all, you're putting a decent amount of force on those screws. So if the holes are just too large or this has been stripped out at all, when you go and put that force on it, you may actually end up stripping out the holes even worse and causing the whole strike plate to be loose. But a lot of times it's fine just to use a screwdriver, bend that tab out, and then it's going to stop the door from traveling too far and making that rattling noise.
Now, really quickly, a very important tip when it comes to making the adjustment on the strike plate is you can adjust this too much. If it's bent too far this way, when the latch tries to go into the strike plate, the latch would get stuck right there. It wouldn't be able to fully insert or seat into the strike plate. And by it being stuck right there, this can actually make your rattle worse. So a good way to know that you've done all you can is before reinstalling this, put it up against the door and make sure that the latch is fully able to seat inside of the strike plate, and you'll know you have a nice tight fit. Now, if you found this video to be helpful, I'll post a link right up here to a video I did in the past showing how to fix a door that either won't close or get stuck when you're trying to open it. So I hope that you found this to be helpful. If you found it to be helpful, if you could do me a huge favor, hit that thumbs up button right down below. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, you can leave those down in the comment section. And I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.